What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. And here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spreader Star?
Man, what's good is those picks from yesterday. Hey, let's
Yeah,
get right into yesterday's news because
right.
we had the perfect sweep, man. We should have given out the Warriors too, but we talked about it with Ski, and we definitely like that side. I'll start with mine there. Mavericks, right? Rough first half, right? But that's why it's so much fun to take these home teams in the playoff. After that first half, if they were in Utah, I would have been a little worried about my bet. But these home teams always got a chance to go ahead and fight back, and they finally knocked down their open threes. Read some statistics. Jazz gave up 17 uncontested threes. That's just their point of attack defense is just so bad here. So I can't wait to see how this series continues to play out. The way the totals are moving, I wonder if Luka's coming back in. Totals going up. Luka might be back. This could be the end for the Jazz if that's the case. But I had the Mavericks, and then that was a sweat, right? I was,
Yeah.
enjoyable second half, and hey, we got there. But
Great
yours,
game, man. What did we talk
yours,
about?
man,
Hey,
you were riding downhill. You
oh
didn't have
yeah,
to
I was
pedal.
riding downhill, man. But on the back real quick to the Mavericks game, remember we spoke about it. What was the key? We said last game we saw so many open looks for Clipper. He
Yeah.
hit him this game. That's the only difference between the first game when they should have actually won because Jason Kidd is out coaching Snyder right now. These guys are wide open for Dallas, man. It's just all about if they're going to knock it down, and they're playing great defense. Hey, what about Jalen Brunson, man? I keep clamoring for my Rockets uh, fans to make a little noise on Twitter so maybe Raphael Stone can hear us. Jalen Brunson would be the perfect piece for what the Rockets are trying to do, man. At point guard, he'd settle down everything that's going on right now. KPJ could go back to the wing where he belongs. We'd have Jalen Green on the wing. I believe Brunson is about to be a great point guard over the next 5 seasons in the NBA if he gets the opportunity. And I don't think the right place for him actually is with Dallas because of Luka and Luka's greatness and his ball dominance. He has to go off the ball and kind of only run with the second team. I think he needs to get his own show, man. He came with a big 41 last night and reminded people of the player he was at Villanova when he was National Player of the Year, man. So that was a great game with Dallas. Great team effort by them. Great job by Coach Kidd having those guys prepared and getting the split to salvage the series because if they went down 0-2, they would have been in some real trouble. The Sixers is just like I told you, man. I talked to you and Noops about this. The Raptors, I know the metrics look good on them. I know they were a great regular season team, but they play a difficult style of basketball. The only teams that we've seen be successful in their style of play is the Warriors. That's it. The Warriors teams that won the championships are really the only teams that didn't have a say just you could throw it down to someone and they just get a bucket. They played off shooting threes. And that's until KD came and they realized how difficult that was. And that's why they went and got KD so that they could get an easy bucket when it really mattered. And that's the difficulty that the Raptors are going to have, man. They can't just throw the ball to Siakam. The 76ers play defense. They've been a good defensive team all season. They can't just throw it to him and say, hey, go get us a basket. They can't just throw it to Van Fleet and say, hey, go get us a basket. He has to play out for someone else's penetration, hope he can get a three on the open look. If he penetrates, man, they're sending his balls to the moon. He's only like 5'11", So the Sixers are going to dominate this series. I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Toronto and actually win game 3. We were talking about it, but after seeing last night, I really feel like when the Sixers want to impose their will on the Raptors, they can because the Raptors just do not have the star power and the lead guys to compete with Harden and with Embiid and now upcoming young star and Maxey. They don't have anything for those guys, man. So I really don't see the Raptors putting up much fight. I see a gentleman sweep in this game in this series. And last night the Sixers showed you how they turned it on in the second quarter, man. Everything was popping. Everybody was wide open, hitting threes. They were playing off Embiid. Embiid had 16 points in the first quarter. He could go for 40 every time if he wanted to against the Raptors. He's kind of pulling up off the gas and letting his team do their thing in the second half and kind of like keeping himself for the series, man. But I don't think the Raptors have enough pushback at all for them, and I believe that was a one-time lightning in the bottle when they won with Kawhi Leonard that season, and they're back to the normal Raptors that we know, a good regular season team and not too good in the playoffs. And I think this is going to end up with Nick Nurse gets on up out of it and goes to a more glamorous job. What do you think?
Well, I don't think Nurse is going anywhere. I think all those rumors are floated by his agent to get him more money. I think he knows he's in a great spot. And just to defend the Raptors a little bit, man, they are missing arguably their best player. I mean, Scotty Barnes, you can argue he's not right now, but within a year or two, he's definitely going to be their best player. I think that
It
was a
can't
huge
affect the
loss.
series, though. You don't think, right? You think he's that important in this series as a rookie? He didn't even really. He wasn't really a
In
main
game one,
focus
he was the
of their
best player on the
offense.
floor for Toronto. I felt, he
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
only one that could really create. And then this team is so dependent on getting stops, and he's such a versatile defender. And it's the difference between having two good defensive wings and three, right, where there's just nowhere to go. And then also, you talked about their inability to create. I thought that Gary Trent was one of the guys that could really do that for them. Of course, he missed the game last night as well. So we might be on opposite sides here in game 3. I'm going to wait. I want to see the injury report. But I'll tell you what, one of the things that worries me about the Sixers, and I think one of the reasons we left them out when we were talking, right, when Ski was taking them, they are kind of dependent on that whistle. So they're going to get the series against the Raptors, it looks like. But if they don't get that friendly whistle in game 3, it's going to be loud in Toronto, Jurassic Park.
But how
It
many
could be a
free throws
completely
did they
different game.
shoot yesterday? Do you know how many free throws? What was the free throw discrepancy?
I could pull it up.
Okay.
Let me pull it up right now.
Okay.
But I just know that that's like a thing that team relies on, which is why a lot of the times, it's hard to really trust them to get it done like over and over, especially as we know a series goes on and the ref's whistle gets a little tighter. So Embiid was 12 of 14 from the line, so he got 14.
That's not
16
bad. I know
field goals.
Harden
It's
didn't
not
go to the
crazy.
line a lot at all, man. Harden's orchestrating this team a
He
little
was
bit
7
different.
of 8 yesterday. So I mean, yeah, nothing egregious there, right? I mean, Van Fleet.
Yeah, because I watched the
Uh,
whole game. That's why I was asking that, because I didn't feel like the referees' whistles affected that game much at all. I felt like more than anything,
no, I
man.
didn't think they did yet last time, but I'm wondering if they're just going to get nothing in game 3.
Got
They're
you,
just going to
got you.
get
And they
nothing,
let
right?
them
I mean,
maul them because they were trying to maul them last game. They were playing
yeah.
very
And we
aggressive,
know
very
these guys can
physical.
get janky, man. I really think, I get mad at NFL officials too, but I think the NBA's really got an officiating problem with the lack
Oh
of
yeah.
consistency from game to game in these series, right? So that'd be
I'm
my one concern. I haven't landed there yet. I need Gary Trent to be back, but I really feel bad for this team because I think with Scotty Barnes in there, well, I like them to win, but even so, I think it would have been so much more competitive. And boy, it's going to be back to the drawing board for them if they can't figure something out in game 3. So I want to see how these guys do on the road. But boy, what a great start for Philadelphia and a team that we had kind of dusted aside when we're talking about championship contenders, right? We keep talking about Heat, Celtics, Bucks, kind of put the Sixers to the side. They're letting us know, hey, you better pay attention to this team. We got 2 former MVPs,
They're
right? I
playing
mean,
ball, man. They're playing
yeah,
ball. They're very impressive. Besides, when we get the ball and parlay, the team that I'm going to take tonight and speak about, Sixers have impressed me a lot in the playoffs
yeah.
so far. They were way more impressive than Milwaukee, playing a lot stouter competition as well. So
Milwaukee treated that game like a regular season game, though. They not even
yeah,
they
I
ran
was
Giannis like
confused.
34 minutes. I think
Yeah,
they
I
don't.
was
I think they're
confused.
just like, why, a win's a win.
Okay,
Why run put all these miles on Giannis? We're
right,
gonna sit
right.
chill, let them get 34, let our reserves, get the feel for the playoff game. I think that's to be interesting to see how Milwaukee turns out. I kind of thought it was a smart way to do that. You get the win whether or not you win by 25 or you win by 8. And
Mhm.
I had the plus 10.5, so maybe that's another reason I liked
We also cast
it.
a little bit on the USFL last night as well,
Yeah,
man. We rolled with Tampa Bay last night. The Tampa Bandits first half -3, and for the full game -6. Got a feel off of the coach, longtime veteran in the league. Used to be the assistant for Todd Haley. He used to be the assistant for the Steelers, coached Arizona. Good coach. And I know he was in a mismatch spread because he was facing this guy, Kirby Wilson. Did you see the thing with him on? It's been all over social media. He cut the kid because the kid ordered a pizza instead of a chicken salad.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Exactly. That's why he was an instant fade, because when you
Yeah,
come out with that type of mindset and idiocracy that I saw in that interview, I knew that he wasn't going to have his team ready. No one's listening to you or respecting
no
you
one's gonna listen to you when you're doing stuff like that.
you're doing stuff like that. You're
This
trying to
ain't 1965.
right, and it's not 1965, and these are grown men, and you should treat them
Yeah,
accordingly. Men respond better when you give them responsibility and allow them to be themselves and allow them to be, uh, accountable for their actions. So that was a very easy fade, as you saw. It was up 17. Then they kind of pulled back the gas a little bit second half and just cruised on out. Man, dude was coming out with his mentality that you're talking about, the 1965 thought process. Showed his first 4 plays they ran spread, they came out with 7 linemen, no wideouts, 3 tight ends, and ran 3 straight dives right into the line. They kept running the ball just over and over because I guess he wants to establish the line of scrimmage. Come on, man. Well, anyway, man, he was an easy fade because of that. We'll be keeping you guys on our USFL plays because I think with it being a new market and me being familiar with a lot of the coaches and quarterbacks, until the old books catch up, we're going to have a good time in that new market, right, Spread? So,
yeah.
yeah,
Until they figure out, I'll bet you if they play again, that's gonna be like a -13 line or something, right?
yeah, most likely. And I'll still lay it. They're going to be
Yeah,
They're going to be double-digit dogs most games with the way they play. But I also see that a lot of the games, that's the Pittsburgh Maulers, are going to go under.
yeah.
So you guys see the Maulers playing on the schedule go under because they have a coach that thinks it's 1933 and that he's Newt Rockney. So hey man, let's get to the ball and parlay and get the people the picks for tonight as we get into some more of these game twos and in the NBA. Man, this is my favorite time in the NBA when everybody's playing, everybody's taking it serious. When the playoffs, I can cap it a lot better, man, than the regular season madness. Who you going with tonight, Spread?
All right, let's go back to a team that I really liked in the regular season. They got upset in game one, right? The biggest upset so far that we've seen. And of course, that was the Memphis Grizzlies falling to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is another one where I expect a bounce back situation here. It's not must win, pretty close though, right? You don't want to go down 0-2 heading back to Minnesota. The way that Anthony Edwards and his teammates are playing, and I think Anthony Edwards is taking over this team, right? So I'm a little worried going against him, right? But
Right.
they're going to get the split no matter what here. They've already put themselves in a great position, so I just believe that Memphis will bounce back tonight. It's actually I don't have the strongest conviction though. Minnesota has been playing so well here.
Yeah. I'm
But
scared of that one. I'm
yeah,
scared of
I
that
mean,
one,
yeah,
Spread.
I'm honest with the listeners here, but the numbers are going to say that Memphis is a better team. They should still
Yeah.
win the they should still win the bench minutes. And what was the big problem in game one? They were rusty, especially on their defensive communication. They gave up 41 points in the first half. I mean, in the first quarter. And they were never able to overcome. But if you looked at the last 3 quarters, right, once they got back in after their week off, they looked a lot better as a team. So a little bit of rust there is going to be the way I'm handicapping it. Going with the season-long numbers, not going to take too much in that first game. Memphis Grizzlies did have success against the Timberwolves during the regular season. I think now that they're back rolling again and they understand, hey, we got to come out, we got to get these stops right off the bat. We can't give up 40 plus points in the first quarter, against a team this offensively gifted. They get a better start here. They're going to have a great chance to win and run away with it. And we've seen this in the playoffs before. I mean, even as much as people love that Nets Bucks series last season, right? First 6 games were blowouts either way.
Yeah.
We only classic we really had were game 7, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen this before, where a team gets blown out and then they get, they go out and blow their opponent out the next day. So that's what I'm expecting here tonight. A little bounce back on the home court. We'll see if John Morant, right, posting all them videos, right, tweeting out notes. He's taking notes. Let's see if he bounces back, man. So I believe in John Morant. I think he's a great player. I think he proves it tonight. I'm going to take the Grizzlies -6.5.
Yeah, John Morant has been very active on Twitter. He was showing a lot of love last night to Golden State too. He's like LeBron when it comes to social media. He's a true fan of the game. He likes watching
Yeah.
the games and he gets into him. So it's nothing wrong with that. But hopefully he can live up to it. I know he'll do his part. He had 32 last game. It's just my problem with Memphis that scares me is just like Toronto, great regular season team, but when you think about it, who are their Jimmys and Joes for the playoffs besides Morant? And he played.
Besides John, I think that's going to be an issue. So let's see
Yeah,
if one of these guys can step up.
yeah, they're gonna need Jaren Jackson has to play like the number one pick that he is. He has to offset Cat. If he doesn't, they're in trouble this series, man. He has to play a lot better than he did. He got completely dominated by Cat last game, and he's the only guy that I really can think of on that team. They have a lot of role players, B+ players, B players, and those players during the regular season play with high effort. But how it is in the playoffs, it comes down to skill, man, and I'll be interested to see what they do. They're going to need more from Desmond Bain. They're going to need more from Dylan Brooks.
Those are the two that I was mentioning, I was about to mention.
Yeah.
One of those two is going to need to step up, but they were able to do it all season, right? And it wasn't, they weren't consistent every night. It was a different guy for the team. Some nights it was a Jaren Jackson night. Some nights it was a Desmond Bain night. But really, if they just get some stops, you can't give up 131 or whatever they gave up in the playoffs and expect to get the win. They put up 117.
Right.
So, I mean, they did their job on the offensive end. They just can't get that deficit out there. They're going to have to be more dialed in on the defensive end. They've been great defensively all year. So, Anthony Edwards is another guy. I love Anthony Edwards. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA, but I know he has been inconsistent, right? He'll drop 36 and then drop 16. So let's see.
Same with Cat. If they have a slow start, Memphis will roll for sure. I know it's going to be a lot of energy in that building tonight. They have one of the better home court advantages, in Memphis. So I'll be very excited to see this. So spreads going with the Memphis Grizzlies minus 6.5, right? Still,
that's where we're at right now. It was 7.5, 7.5 in game one. So a half-point adjustment after the first game, and I think I'm fine just taking the extra half point. I think that they did a pretty good job on the line, even in game one. Like I felt it was pretty close to correct.
Right.
So these lines are pretty tight at this time of year. So that's why rather than just running the numbers, you got to watch the game, see what adjustments they're going to make. But that's always also the advantage that the losing team has. They can make more adjustments.
Right.
You put up 131. What are you going to do different, right? So that Taylor Jenkins and his staff are in there looking at how things broke down. And there's guys like Anthony Edwards that just play so excellent that there's no defense that can stop them. But you got to take away the rest of those guys, and you can't let both of them go off, right? If both Edwards and Towns have another big game,
they should come back to the middle. But, they should come back to the middle tonight. So spreads going with Memphis at home, and I'm going to go with another home favorite. I'm going with Miami at home. They're minus 7.5, but the numbers increasing as I watch. I saw a couple of 8s out there. Now we basically got two teams that are heading in two different directions. Miami has their mind on the ring, and Atlanta's just fighting, trying to stay afloat. Looking that they got in, trying to grab some magic from last year, but it hasn't been their year all year. These are the top 2 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. Miami's number 1, shooting almost 38% ridiculously, and right behind them is Atlanta, shooting at a 37.4, about 37%. They're the 2 best 3-point shooting teams in the league. In this age, that's very important. But the difference is Miami's second in defending the 3 in the league. They hold opponents to shooting 33% from behind the arc, whereas the Hawks, 25th, and they allow teams to shoot about 36% from the 3-point line. And that's the difference in this game. As you saw last game, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler didn't even have to do much. Duncan Robinson, Strus, all of those no names that they have in Miami that can literally shoot the ball so well from behind the arc. They won't fire. They had wide open looks, and I think this is going to continue tonight. Miami looks like a team on a mission. Maybe that little problem Jimmy Butler had with the coach was needed, because it seemed like they're really fired up over there. They're looking real aggressive.
That stuff always works, man. When people saying, "Oh, man, that's how it works in a competitive environment." I'd much rather have these guys yelling at each other than if they lose it and they don't care and they say, "Hey,
that's right.
They go after the game."
Yeah, they care, man.
Look who just texted me, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So they're bonding off of that, man, because they all seem to take. They already Miami's always been known for being an aggressive team. It seems like though when LeBron and D Wade were there, they got a little bit finesse. They seem a little bit more back to the old Miami teams, the Alonzo Mourning Miami teams that were more physical. Now a very physical team, man, and with all that physicality, still have all these sweet stroke shooters, shooting these threes from everywhere. So it's a real problem. It's a horrible matchup for the Hawks. Poor little Trey, last game when he had 8 points.
Yeah, let's talk about Trey real quick because I think that's the only way we lose this one, right? I talked about A1 Anthony Edwards being, the kind of the kryptonite to my pick. I think Trey Young's the kryptonite to your pick. He averaged 25.5 points in the 4 regular season games against the Heat, and he had 35 the last time they played in April, right? Then he drops down to 8. It was the first time in the playoffs he hasn't scored double digits, right? So his worst game as a pro. If he bounces back, of course, his team has a chance. The reason I like your play, regardless, though, and I think they could even absorb a better night from Young. I just don't think the Atlanta is running these guys off the line. And we're looking at this here with Bogdan probable, right? Capella's still out. And what's happening is too many Gallinari minutes. Like as cool as Gallinari is, he's a fun
coming
player,
off the
right?
bench, he can't be a guy that's getting 30 plus minutes, man, for you.
Not against an athletic team. There's teams you can do that against, but in this Heat team that's so well conditioned, they have a bunch of athletes on the floor, right? They don't have any stiffs like that. They don't have the old Gallinari's out there playing YMCA ball, right? The old dude that moves slow that knows how to play basketball, right? That's not going to cut it against these guys. So other than like a Trey Supernova, I don't see how the Heat don't cover again. And it'll be interesting, and I hate to really overreact, off one game, but boy, Atlanta might have to shake things up a little bit. Trey Young, great player to build around, but it doesn't seem like that they've done the right things, to really. It's an unathletic team around a guy who can't defend, right? So there's just so many weaknesses for this team on the defensive end currently. So maybe they get a better performance from John Collins. I'm high on a Kongwu, but what? He's a second-year player that didn't play a lot during his rookie year. Now he's going against one of the best coached teams in the league. He's just not there yet. And is he going to be there in 3 years? Yeah, I think he's going to be as good or better than Capella was when Capella was at his best with you guys out in Houston. But he's not that guy right now. I mean, he got 20 years old, and that's kind of the problem with how early these guys come into the league. They can have great regular seasons and, be impressive. But we know it's like, God, the guy's still 2 years away from really being a playoff performer. I mean, it'd be cool if he proves me wrong, right? Because I'm a big fan of the guy. He came out of USC.
He's
really
nice.
like
He's super nice. He's a mentor by LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball coached him.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That was that's Melo's. That's Melo's big man. He was Melo's big man his whole life. Yeah, they ran together for years. They played AAU together, man. He's a good kid, man, and great player. He has a very bright future, but as you said, they're too stiff, man. Hunter, great player from Virginia, but as you know, like I know, I'm a little bit tapped more into the college than you. At Virginia, he was a 4. He didn't even play on the wing. He was a big man, in Virginia that could step out and hit threes. Now he's having to go out to the wing in the NBA because he was an undersized 4. He's a good defensive player, but he's a more for blocking shots. He's not really isn't fleet of feet like talking about. And then you got Werther from Maryland. He's slow. He's a good shooter, 6'8" and slow. So as you said, they don't match up well. And then at the end of the day, you also got a bunch of boys going against a bunch of grown men, and not just regular grown men, grown ass men with Miami. They got Tucker and Lowry, Butler. These are OG veterans in the NBA, man. They're gonna play, tough, hard, and dirty. And it's the playoffs. They all on a clock and know that their time is running out. Tucker tasted a championship last year. I'm sure he wants another one. He wants to show Pat Riley he did the right thing bringing him in. Butler's never had a championship. He's still hungry. He went to the bubble championship, but we all consider that a Mickey Mouse championship. No one even considers the bubble like real playoffs. So he has to get to an actual finals, man, with the crowd involved. And Lowry's a veteran, and his days are dwindling down in the league. And I'm sure he wants to establish himself with already a first ballot Hall of Fame career by adding more jewelry to it. So Miami looks like to be on a mission. And when you got teams like them that know their number one seed and understand uh, how to be a number one seed, their first thing they're doing when they're playing these little 8 season teams like this is let's kill their confidence early. You could believe that's what's supposed to tell them. Let's get on them early. Let's make them know and make them feel us and know that we're the number one seed and that they don't belong. And they're not going to play games, take any games off, or feel like, oh, they're soft because we beat them last game. No, Miami's going to come out focused tonight, and I expect them to win big again tonight. Anything for the people spread before we get out of here?
Just one last point on this Heat Hawks series. Nate McMillan, the reason he lost his job in Indiana is his inability to make in-series adjustments. And that's where I think his big weakness as a coach is actually the X's and the O's and the strategies. I think he does a great job communicating with his players. I think he gets a great job of getting them to buy in. I think he creates a great team atmosphere. I think he's very good for team development. But when it gets to this point of the series, I don't think he's playing chess with these guys like Spoelstra is. I think he's too bought into like, this is our system, this is what we run, and that can be great because it gives consistency, especially to young players. But now when you need to make these moves, I don't necessarily trust him to get it done. Where Spoelstra's been orchestrating these guys since back, when he got LeBron, and he learned how to do it under Pat Riley. So coaching mismatch as well. So we got more talent, we got more intensity, and we got the better coach. I like this play, the Miami Heat.
Definitely. So you guys bet the Grizzlies straight -6.5, bet the Heat straight -7.5, and then parlay them both together. As he said, the Heat are strong, man. I like everything about them right now. Spoelstra, it comes down from the top. It's Riley to Spoelstra on down to the team, man. And just shows you how smart they are by when you look at the metrics. The fact that they're a bruising team, but they shoot the best from the 3-point line in the league because Pat Riley and Spoelstra both have the wherewithal to understand that's where the league was heading and that's where it's at now. But they also defend three the best. Those are very important stats in today's basketball. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Follow my guy Spread at Spread ASTAIRE on Twitter. Follow me at 5-Star in Vegas. Please subscribe to his YouTube channel. That's Spread ASTAIRE. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's 5-Star in Vegas Sports Investments. And please subscribe to SCOON TV. We're on SCOON TV every day, Monday through Friday. Best of luck to you all. We'll see you tomorrow.